Your cat needs 6 specific things from you. Not food, not the annual vet checkup, not the premium litter or the orthopedic cat bed you bought last winter that she has used exactly twice. 6 things that exist in a completely different category from all of that. Things that, when they are consistently present, build something between you and your cat that is invisible and irreversible. And when they are absent, which for most American cat owners they are, not through neglect but through simply never having been told what they actually are, something invisible and irreversible erodes instead. Quietly, daily, without any single moment you could ever point to as the cause. I need you to stay with me through all 6, because the 6th one is not something you do. It is something that happens, something that appears in your cat's behavior when the first 5 have been present long enough and consistently enough that her nervous system has accumulated the specific quality of evidence it requires to make its most complete and final decision about you. And when you see it, when you finally understand what you are looking at when it appears, it will be one of the most significant moments you have had with your cat. Not because it is dramatic, because you will finally know what it means. I am going to tell you what the 6th act looks like at the end of this video, but you need all 5 that come before it to understand it fully. So stay through all 6. The 6th one is worth every minute of the 5 that build toward it. This is cat class. Let's talk about what your cat is actually hoping you will give her for life. The first act of love is the one that nobody talks about because it does not look like love from the outside. There is nothing emotionally resonant about it on the surface. No warmth, no cuteness, nothing that photographs well or generates content. And yet it is the single act that your cat depends on more than any other thing you could possibly offer her. More than toys, more than treats, more than any amount of affection delivered in the spontaneous, variable, emotionally driven way that most American cat owners tend to deliver affection. More than all of it. The first act of love is consistency. Every single day. Your cat is not seeking variety in the architecture of her daily life. She is not looking for novelty in her routines or spontaneity in the way her environment is managed. Her entire physiological experience of safety, the actual neurochemical, measurable experience of safety that determines whether her stress hormones are suppressed or chronically elevated, whether her immune system is functioning optimally or being quietly taxed by sustained low-grade stress, is built on a foundation of predictability, of knowing what comes next, of the specific, reliable expectation that what happened yesterday will happen again today in roughly the same form, at roughly the same time, delivered by roughly the same quality of presence. A study published in Applied Animal Behavior Science found that cats exposed to unpredictable daily conditions, variable feeding times, irregular human schedules, inconsistent access to familiar spaces, showed significantly elevated cortisol levels compared to cats in stable, routine, consistent households. What makes this finding remarkable is that the unpredictable conditions in the study included nothing objectively negative. No loud sounds, no threatening interactions, no identifiable stressors. Just variability. Just the removal of the predictability her nervous system had calibrated itself to expect. That alone, the absence of consistency, without any corresponding presence of threat, was sufficient to elevate her stress hormones to a measurably harmful level. The same food, served at approximately the same time each day, fresh water in the same location, a litter box that is clean and exactly where she expects it to be, your return home in roughly the same window of the evening, the bedtime that happens with enough regularity that she can build her settling behavior around the anticipation of it. None of these feel like love when you are providing them. They feel like logistics, the maintenance operations of running a household that includes a cat. But from your cat's neurological perspective, every consistent instance of the expected thing arriving as expected is a data point that says the world is as it should be. The environment is safe. The person who maintains the environment is trustworthy. And the animal who lives inside that environment does not need to spend any of her available resources on uncertainty management. Here is what that resource liberation produces. This is the part most people never hear, and it is the piece that transforms consistency from obligation into act of love. When your cat's environment is predictably stable, when the daily architecture of her life is reliable enough that her nervous system does not need to allocate significant capacity to threat monitoring, she begins to do something that owners who have experienced it describe as the most remarkable transformation they have witnessed in a cat. She drops her guard. Not her alertness, not her personality. Her guard, the specific, invisible, low-level vigilance that every cat carries as a baseline operating state. The slight held quality in the body, the mild readiness that is so constant it becomes indistinguishable from her resting state, until it finally releases and she becomes, visibly, something fuller and more at ease than you have ever seen her. That is what consistency produces, not just better cortisol numbers. A cat who trusts the world completely enough to stop managing it. And her world is you. Hold that image through all 6 acts. It is where everything leads. The second act of love is the one that most American cat owners misread every time it happens, and that the misreading of consistently over weeks and months damages something real that most owners never connect back to this specific moment. Let her leave. Here is the moment. Your cat has been near you, on your lap, beside you on the couch, somewhere in the warm, mutual proximity that feels like the relationship at its best. And then, she decides she is done. She stands, stretches, and begins to move away. And your instinct, immediate, genuine, coming entirely from the desire to hold on to what was just happening, is to reach for her, to keep her there a moment longer, to follow her into the next room. To try, with whatever gentle persistence your affection produces, to extend the closeness past the point where she has already decided she is finished with it. Every time you act on that instinct, you are teaching her something. Not intentionally, not cruelly, but you are teaching her, through the accumulated experience of many repetitions, that proximity to you has a cost. That the price of being close is the potential loss of control over her own body and movements. That coming near you means accepting that the duration of the contact is yours to determine, rather than hers. And a cat who has learned this, through experience rather than through any reasoning process, in the specific experiential way that animal learning works, begins, entirely rationally, to reduce the proximity in order to protect the autonomy. The cat who followed you from room to room becomes the cat who stays in the other room, not because the affection diminished, because the calculation changed. Cats are one of the few domesticated animals that retained genuine structural autonomy as part of their domestication. Dogs were selectively bred across thousands of years toward compliance and dependence, toward a disposition that finds the surrender of self-determination to a trusted human not just tolerable, but deeply rewarding. That selection did not happen with cats. The cats that entered the first human agricultural settlements 10,000 years ago came because it benefited them, stayed because it continued to benefit them, and maintained the independence that made them effective in the role they occupied. The behavioral architecture of autonomy is not a residue in your cat. It is structural. It is who she is. What this means for the second act of love is both simple and specifically important. When she decides to leave, let her leave. Every time. Without reaching, without following, without any behavioral signal that communicates your preference for the interaction to continue past her signal that it is done. Just stillness and the complete, unconditional release of the contact the moment she indicates she is finished with it. What this produces, through consistent repetition, is the specific form of trust that is most unique to cats and most significant in the long-term health of the relationship. She learns, through accumulated experience, that proximity to you never costs her anything, that she can approach and withdraw freely at her own discretion without any loss attached to the approaching. And a cat who has learned this deeply enough does something that owners who have experienced it consistently describe as surprising. She stops leaving as much. The cat who was guaranteed complete freedom chose to stay. Because freedom is the only condition under which staying means something, rather than simply persisting. The owners whose cats follow them everywhere, who sleep beside them every night, who seem to never want to be anywhere else, these are not the owners who held on tightest. They are the owners who released every time without hesitation. The freedom to leave was what made staying feel like a choice. And it is only when staying is genuinely a choice that it means anything at all. The third act of love is the one that feels slightly self-conscious to perform in front of other people. And that is, according to the most directly relevant research currently available, one of the most neurologically significant things you can regularly offer your cat. Talk to her. Consistently, warmly, and with the specific vocal quality that her nervous system is calibrated to respond to. Not a neutral information transfer. Not the standard adult conversational register you use with other humans. The specific, soft, warm, gently pitched voice. The register most people use automatically with cats or small children, and would feel mildly self-conscious about if a colleague walked in. That is the voice that produces measurable neurological responses in cats. Not because it is high-pitched or exaggerated, because it carries the specific acoustic signature of genuine emotional orientation. The warmth, the softness, the specific cadence that says, this communication is coming from care rather than from neutral information transfer. Research from Paris Nanterre University found that cats reliably distinguish between their owner's voice and the voice of an unfamiliar person, but only show differential behavioral responses when their owner uses what the study termed cat-directed speech. When owners used this warm, specifically directed register, the cats in the study showed measurable behavioral responses. Reorientation toward the voice, pupil dilation consistent with heightened attention, and a specific quality of body softening that the researchers described as reduced defensive arousal. When the same owners used their standard adult conversational tone, directed at the cat, the differential responses largely disappeared. Your cat knows the difference between you talking in the general direction of her and you talking to her. Her nervous system responds to the latter in ways that are physiologically real and measurably calming. Your voice, used in that specific, warm, directed way, functions as a regulatory input, adjusting the baseline tension in her nervous system the way genuine presence adjusts the quality of a room. It is the auditory signal that you are here, that you are oriented toward her, that this moment is safe, in the specific way that being seen and addressed makes a moment safe. Talk to her when you walk into the room. Use her name with genuine warmth when you notice her. Narrate what you are doing in the kitchen when she follows you in. Describe what you are thinking about while she sits on the desk beside your laptop. Carry on a one-sided conversation about whatever is happening in your day while she sits on the bathroom counter watching you get ready. It does not matter that she does not understand the content. The content is not the point. The specific acoustic and emotional quality of the voice is the point. The warm, consistent, directed quality that tells her nervous system reliably and without ambiguity that you are here and you are safe to be near. And this is a good moment in which nothing requires vigilance. The owners whose cats seem to materialize from other rooms the moment they start talking, who appear and orient and settle with a reliability that seems almost impossible to explain by simple habit, have been doing this, often without recognizing that the casual, warm, continuous address they direct at their cat is, from the cat's neurological perspective, one of the most consistent and significant acts of love in the daily relationship. Play with her the way she is biologically built to play. What genuine play looks like in practice is specific. The toy moves like prey, irregularly, with unpredictable direction changes, with pauses that build the specific tension of the stalk, with brief disappearances behind furniture that make the re-emergence genuinely surprising. You give her the stalk. You give her the chase. You let her pounce and grab and hold. And then, this is the part most American owners skip, you let her have the catch. You let the toy go still under her grip, long enough for her nervous system to register the kill. And if you can follow the session with a small food reward, you close the consume stage and the entire sequence resolves completely in a way that leaves her neurologically settled, rather than still carrying the residual activation of an incomplete hunt. Here is the specific research finding that makes this act impossible to dismiss as sentiment. A study examining interaction quality between cats and their primary owners found that cats in households where owners regularly provided what researchers classified as low-quality interaction, physically present but not attentively engaged, initiating contact while simultaneously focused on screens or other tasks, showed measurably lower rates of voluntary social approach toward their owners over time, compared to cats whose owners provided fewer but genuinely attentive interactions. The quantity of physical proximity was not the determining variable. The quality of the attention within the interaction was. Your cat would consistently choose 20 minutes of you actually there over 2 hours of you nearby but absent. She is not tracking your physical location in the house. She is tracking whether you are actually available, whether the quality of your presence in a given moment constitutes something she can actually connect with, or whether it constitutes proximity without content. The sixth act of love is when she finally, completely, lets you see her with her guard entirely down. The 6 acts live in the layer that is not about logistics, but about the specific daily behavioral evidence that your cat's nervous system is continuously evaluating to determine whether you are who it has assessed you to be, whether the consistency is holding, whether the autonomy is being respected, whether the voice is still warm, the play still complete, the presence still genuine, whether the accumulated evidence is continuing to accumulate in the direction of the assessment it has already made. Your cat made her assessment of you. She made it a long time ago, and the result of it is that she is in your life, in your home, choosing you in the daily, repeated way that everything cat class has covered describes. That assessment is not fixed. It is continuously updated by the evidence of your daily behavior, and the 6 acts are the specific daily behaviors that keep the evidence moving in the direction of the assessment she already made. In plain terms, she decided you were worth it. The 6 acts are how you keep being worth it, not through perfection, through consistency, through the specific, daily, ordinary quality of showing up in the way that her nervous system was designed to respond to, with exactly what the 6th act produces: the complete, unguarded, fully trusting presence of a cat who has decided that the world is safe because you are in it. You have the 6 acts now. You know what they look like in practice. You know why each one matters at the level of her actual nervous system, rather than at the level of abstract good intentions. And you know what you are looking at when the 6th one finally, quietly, completely arrives. Go practice the first 5. Starting today, starting tonight, starting with whatever ordinary moment is next. Not perfectly, consistently. One consistent morning at a time. One released departure at a time. One genuine phone-down present session at a time. Building the evidence that her nervous system is continuously evaluating. She is already most of the way to the 6th act. She chose you. She has been choosing you every day. She just needs the evidence to keep arriving the way it has been. And now you know exactly what that evidence looks like and how to provide it. Every consistent morning, every complete hunt, every warm word in the voice she responds to, every moment of genuine, undivided presence, every time you let her go. All of it evidence. All of it going into the assessment. All of it building toward the moment when she comes to you in an ordinary moment and releases everything she has been carrying, and you finally, completely understand what you are looking at. That moment is worth every one of the 6 acts that build toward it. Go build it. If this video changed how you understand what your cat needs from you every day, give it a like, subscribe to Cat Class, and share it with someone in your life whose cat deserves all 6 of these acts, and whose owner deserves to know how to give them. Drop a comment and tell me which of the 6 you are starting with, which one you had been missing without realizing it, which one you think will change the most. Because every consistent morning, every stopped hand, every complete hunt, every genuine present moment, it all matters. It all goes into the evidence. And the evidence, built with these 6 acts as your daily practice, leads to only one honest result. A cat who has decided, completely and without reservation, that you are worth every bit of trust she has. She already believes it. Now go show her she was right.